Hi, this is Marla with the Kissy Foundation for Pediatric Cancer. And as many of you know, I've been on this mission, Mommy Mission Possible, to be able to bring more awareness to pediatric cancer and to be able to get more people involved in pediatric cancer. And that's definitely our objective with the Kissy Foundation for Pediatric Cancer. So today, I stepped out of my comfort zone to do something that's a little bit uncomfortable for me, but I knew that I had to do it not only for myself, but for the children and the families who are battling pediatric cancer, not only here in Houston, but around the world. So what I've decided to do was to come out and to interview some parents, because what I think is important is the fact that many families are not so involved because we're visual. And when we don't get involved, it becomes an issue, because if you don't know, then you're not aware and you don't get involved. So I just figured it would be a great idea for me to kind of step out of my own comfort zone and to come to the hospital to interview a few families. And my first family is one of my favorite families. It's the Well family. Can I say your name right?
It's Wally.
It's Wally family. Oh, so I really feel bad about that.
Okay.
So Grant was one of Kissy's friends, very shy, and his mom Shelly became my friend. She's been absolutely amazing. She's my very first interview. I'm really nervous because it's something that I've not done before, but I knew that it was necessary. Not only for me, again, for me to feel good about what I'm doing, but also for these children and their families who are going through what they're going through. So I just wanted to take the moment to introduce what I'm about to do, because I just think that, again, it's necessary. Okay, so we're back with Shelly. And Shelly, if you don't mind, go ahead and introduce yourself to us, please.
Sure, I'm Shelly Wally, and we live in Montgomery, Texas. And my son Grant was diagnosed September 20th, 2012 with ALL, which is acute lymphoblastic leukemia. He had a standard risk B cell. The standard for that on treatment is actually 2.5 years for girls and 3 years for boys. So we had a very lengthy treatment for Grant.
Okay, how much did you personally know about pediatric cancer prior to your baby being directly affected with pediatric cancer?
That's a good question. Actually, probably not very much at all, very little. And I like to use this example, but I remember a long time ago, probably before my son was ever born, I would be driving in my car in traffic, and one of the telethons would be on the radio station about childhood cancer, and I would start listening to the stories, and I would get so upset and just heartbroken, I would change the channel. I just couldn't listen to it anymore. And it hit me when Grant was actually diagnosed that I couldn't change the channel anymore. I was living in that reality.
That's it.
And once you're there, there's no way to just change the channel anymore. And I think that people, it's so heartbreaking, the issues are so heartbreaking and so devastating that a lot of people change the channel because they don't want to feel that hurt.
That's it. That's those particular people are the people who've not been directly affected. They don't know any child that has been directly affected. So it's not that they don't care, but if it's not something that directly affects you, or it's not something that you get involved with.
Exactly.
So I totally understand that. How has pediatric cancer impacted your life, your child's life, and the life of your family?
Oh, that's an even better question. That day that he was diagnosed, it literally turned our entire world upside down.
I do know what that feels like.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that you can ever prepare for that will make that day any easier.
That's
and
it.
I pray that no one has to go through that, but the reality is they will.
Yeah.
But I mean, it went from me not only having my son sick and fighting for his life, but I couldn't work anymore.
Yeah.
My
I know
husband,
that feeling.
Yeah, my husband had to miss work lots of times to come up and help me. Our other child, our daughter,
who also got sick during that time. I remember that.
She was diagnosed with scoliosis.
I remember that. And she had surgery. I remember that.
Surgery. Yeah. So we had a rough go at it, but she felt left out and isolated, and we had to rely on family and friends to take care of her and take care of our house. I mean, you name it. And probably the most right away thing that we felt was being financially just blown away.
Yes.
There's no, even if you have insurance and you have an 80% and you have to pay the 20% copay, let me tell you a little secret. 20% is a lot of money, and you cannot imagine the bills that you would receive.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And then there's parking, there's eating. What if you, like me, in our situation with Kissy, what if you don't have immediate family here that can be a part of that? What if you're not working at all? What if you're a single parent like I was?
Yeah.
What people don't realize is that so many different things happen on the inside that they don't know about, and you just really scratch the surface by looking at the outside of what's going on. And generally, people don't ask those type questions either, and that's the purpose of me wanting to conduct these interviews, because again, people are visual.
Right.
And these are real life stories. I mean, I'm literally sitting at MD Anderson Hospital right now,
Right.
and it took everything in me to get up this morning to do this, because it's kind of like pouring salt in the wound.
Yeah.
I'm still going through the grieving process, and then I have to come here to see the children who are actually going through what I actually went through. And it's just a blessing to be able to sit here with you, Shelly, right now. God is amazing. No, God is amazing. God is amazing. He's amazing. He's amazing. And don't you start that crying, girl. Don't you start that crying. We have a couple more questions to get through. Okay, so although all stories don't end the same, we know what happened to Kissy, and we have little Grant just running around here. But although all stories don't end the same, what has been your greatest fear or fears for your child's health and future?
Well, I mean, obviously the first thing is your child's life. I mean, that's the most precious thing ever. So you're scared to death.
Most definitely.
You would do anything to make your child better, and sometimes there's nothing you can do.
Because you're out of control as a parent. You're in control of everything, and then once that child is diagnosed, you have no control over what happens at that point.
You've lost all control.
That's it.
And all you
it's
can
like
do is
parental
comfort
rights
them.
are gone.
Right, exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
Wow.
And so, I mean, you have to think about that, and then Grant is actually in remission right now. But
Praise God.
Yes, thank you, Lord, for
Yes.
that. And but
God is
I
amazing.
kind of have found that I've been living in fear lately. Lots of our friends, we get to know a lot of the families in this particular pediatric cancer field, but
It's a community. We all live in the same community that people keep trying to drive around because they don't want to be a part of it. That's how I like to explain it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're right. And I think that...
But our community is bigger than people think it is.
It is, and there's so much that can be done,
But it's not.
It's not at this point. And, with Grant especially, I worry about his future. I see so many other children that actually relapse over and over. And, I mean, one of our friends actually, their nephew just passed away, and it was his 8th battle with cancer, 8th time for cancer. So I live in fear almost every day, thinking, is it coming back today? Is it coming back tomorrow?
Every time it's time to have scans, you get scanxiety.
Scanxiety, yes.
Scanxiety.
Yeah.
That becomes one of the oncology mom terms.
Yes, ma'am.
What has become your greatest need while your child is or has been fighting? Because clearly all cases are different in many ways, as far as like treatment types, the length of treatments. So what has become some of your...
Well, I would kind of say that, like you said, every cancer is different. So there's some children that actually they'll be hospitalized for months at a time. We were not
or
hospitalized.
frequently.
Or frequently, yeah.
Yes.
We were hospitalized usually for about a week or so at a time. But we were...
So we're going to just continue this interview with another question. The hardest thing to do is to get people involved. Is what I've learned just since Kissy's passing and starting the organization and everything. It's been so very hard. I mean, we still have our supporters. I still have my following and everything. But the hardest thing to do is to get people involved, especially if they're not aware already. Many of my supporters are aware, obviously, and some were not before Kissy, before them following Kissy. But if many are not aware or hasn't been exposed to any type of pediatric cancer or anyone who's been diagnosed, they just don't get involved. It's hard for them to get involved.
Right.
And I guess I understand, but I don't understand at the same time, because this is children that we're talking about. So my question is, as the founder and CEO of the Kissy Andrews Foundation for Pediatric Cancer, what is it that I can do via the organization, through future projects, to make people more aware and to get involved?
Right. Well, I mean, we do have Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, which was just recently in September. So that's a great time. But we want to not just be in one month of the year. We want to continue
That's
that
it.
throughout
You
the
said
whole
it.
year.
You said it.
These babies, I don't know if everyone's even aware of this, but it's very important. We hashtag almost all the things we do with hashtag more than 4.
Yes.
That's because out of every
Dollar,
dollar that goes to cancer
4%.
research, 4%.
Which is
goes
for
to
what?
child-
Pennies.
4 pennies out of
on a
every
dollar. That's
goes
it.
to childhood cancer research.
And you can pick that up just walking around
I
here in the
know,
hospital on the floor.
It's not enough. That's our babies. That's our
Imagine
future.
knowing that your child's health only means 4 cents
4
of every
cents.
dollar.
Right. Exactly.
4 cents
Exactly. 4 cents.
4
That's
pennies
not enough. It's not enough.
of a dollar.
No.
4 cents. This is our future. This is our tomorrow.
Right.
This is not our yesterday. This is our future and our tomorrow.
Right, and they're given 4 cents, and you know I look at this is October, so it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
There you go.
And there's so
With
much,
all due respect.
And, I have family
Yes,
members that are breast
yes,
cancer survivors.
yes.
So nothing to take away from breast cancer, but I love how everyone is very supportive
And advocate.
and advocates, and the major football, Major League Baseball and NFL, they get involved, and it's such a really
Big deal for them.
Big community. Everybody really gets involved in it, and
Businesses.
businesses. I mean, car dealerships. I mean, just anything you can think of, they're involved, and that's great. But we need to get that kind of coverage and that kind of involvement
And
with childhood
participation.
cancer.
That's
Right,
it.
right.
That's it.
So we need to get some of that excitement so that we can bring in more research dollars for our children. 4% is not enough. It's just not enough. So we really try to bring awareness by all these different groups. We try to get the media involved. We try to have different events around town to raise funds. Too.
I will say this, getting the media involved is not the hardest thing at all to do. You know, the media will jump on a story.
Yes.
They'll jump on a story. Getting the media involved and getting other people involved is the problem.
Right.
You know, you can put a story out there any day of the week. The fact of the matter is, what difference does it make if somebody's not going to get involved?
Right.
If you're not going to, it takes money to do these things. And that's why I asked you, what is it through the organization? Because we're trying to build an organization. What is it? What type of programs can we implement in order to be able, people parking, $15 a day if you're valeting, I think $12, $13 a day if you park in the garage.
Yeah, absolutely.
But who can really afford that?
Nobody can, and that's what's crazy. I mean, you have the most devastating news of your life.
That's it.
Your child is fighting for their
That's
very
it.
life, and you're devastated. Your
That's
world
it.
has been turned upside down, and then your car is sitting in the parking lot racking up $12 a day in parking charges.
What if your child is in the hospital like mine was for 3
For
months?
Yeah. And
There
then-
were some organizations that were able to help, but what happens when you're in a position to where everybody don't know of those resources?
Right. A lot
So
of
you
people
sometimes
don't.
you have to know somebody who knows
Right,
somebody to
right.
know about these resources.
And that's one thing that I
If
did, and that would be a
there
great
are
thing.
resources.
Yeah, that would be a
So-
great thing for you to do for your organization, for Kissy's organization, is to actually maybe have people come to the hospitals and tell people that there are some programs here and are actually working right now that they can go to. I didn't know at first, and so
I didn't know at first either.
Yeah, it took me a long time to figure out.
But
that
it
some
took you a
things
long
were
time to
available.
figure out, but then by that time it was too late.
Right. A lot of the things have run
Exactly.
out of funding.
That's
I
it.
mean, there's so many things that can happen.
So that's what bringing money into the organization,
money
that's where
in.
it becomes important.
Right, and I would also say a good thing to do, we were recently having Red Ribbon Week at all the schools about
Yeah.
say no to drugs. Why not teach the kids at school about cancer?
So I have a personal friend
Yeah.
whose daughter is very, very dear to my heart and was very, very dear to Kissy. And this baby, I just love her, love her, love her. I'm just going to put her name out there. Her name's Kennedy.
Yes.
And Kennedy talks to me like she's a big girl.
Yeah.
She's in 5th grade, but she talks to me like she's in 12th grade.
Yeah.
And it's funny you say that, Shelly. Look, I'm almost in tears over
I
here.
know. Yeah.
Mascara's just going to be running everywhere.
That's okay.
I just talked to this baby last week about that. That's going to be her program to implement
Oh.
for the Kissy Andrews
Oh,
Foundation
that's awesome.
through schools.
Yes.
That's what I want to happen. I think
Exactly.
children should know,
They should.
but there has to be a way to explain it to kids without scaring the spooky out of them.
Exactly.
You know, so I just feel like that's very important. Thanks
Yes.
for confirming that for
You're
me.
welcome. Absolutely.
No, really, thanks for confirming. I love you so much.
I love you too. But
You know,
yeah.
it's funny how you build relationships in situations like this. You know, I oftentimes say that, like I said to you a little bit earlier, pediatric cancer does not discriminate.
No.
I don't
not at all.
care if you're black, if you're white. I don't care if you're rich or if you're poor. I don't care if you live in a house or you live on the street. When pediatric cancer calls, you're gonna answer.
That's right.
You have no choice. It's like death.
Yeah.
It's like death. When it calls, you're gonna answer.
That's
You don't
right.
have time to say, "Oh, wait a minute, Lord.
Yeah. I'm not.
Can I
ready
get
yet.
home?
Yeah.
Can I get home and prepare 1st? Let me pack a bag." I
And there's
mean,
nothing that you can do to prepare
there's
for
nothing.
this.
There's
you don't
nothing.
set aside a savings for a rainy day when your
you
child
do
has
not.
cancer.
You
Doesn't
do
happen.
not.
No.
And guess what? When that rainy day comes, you don't have time to prepare for that day either.
No, not at all.
You can't go back and try to prepare for it.
No, there's,
You cannot go back.
it's insane.
Okay, so what message, as deep as you want it to be, I won't even coach you into this one.
Okay.
What message, as a parent of a child battling or has battled, because our baby's in remission,
Yes.
and I'm so grateful for that,
Yes, ma'am.
would you want to give to the entire world, all of Kissy's supporters, and anybody that will listen, be it the
Yes.
media, be it the president, be it the president, I don't care who it may be. Because at
Right.
this point, we're talking about our future.
That's
What
right.
message would you want to give the world regarding pediatric cancer and how important it is to get involved, to be a part of an organization, to donate because it's necessary? What message would you give them?
I would just remind everyone again that, you know, when something like this happens, you're so unprepared. No one will ever be prepared for that, but you really need the whole village to be there. I mean, whether it's programs that are implemented, your family, your friends, even the doctors and the nurses, you need for everyone to understand and be there for you, be there for your family and for your child. But more importantly than all of that even is that we need to really bring awareness to this. They always say it's a rare childhood cancer.
It's not.
That's what I mainly want to say. None of this is rare. It is not rare. When I have my son, your daughter, one of our neighbors, actually 2 or 3 of our neighbors, one of Grant's classmates, one of our church members, actually 2 or 3 now, that is not rare. When you know these people personally, I didn't even meet them through childhood cancer through our organizations. I met these people going to church. They live in our neighborhood. They go to school with my son, and all of
That's
these
how
kids, it's
common
not rare.
it is.
It's very common.
Let me tell you something.
Yes.
People say rare, it really just, it irks me.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm going to tell you why. Because, in my opinion, pediatric cancer is a moneymaker. I believe that there's a cure. I personally believe that somewhere there is a cure
believe
for
that too.
pediatric cancer. I don't know what it is. I'm no medical nothing.
Right.
I'm not. I'm just a mommy
Right.
who became Dr. Mom.
Right.
Who had to
Momcologist.
learn, a momcologist, who had to learn along the way. I knew absolutely nothing, zero and none
Oh, yeah.
about pediatric cancer. But people keep saying that it's rare, it's rare, it's rare, it's a rarity, it's a rarity. It's not. It's
rare.
more like the common cold these days.
It is.
Because I see so many more cases, so many more Facebook pages popping up. These babies are passing away, and especially this DIPG.
It's horrible. Horrible.
With no cure for it at all. You know, the chances of these children living, there has to be something that we could implement for these children to get more screening. There's no early detection for pediatric cancer. Other types of cancers, there's early detection. But with pediatric cancer, there's not. I mean, these are children. A lot of these kids are even born with it.
Yeah,
where does it come from?
Absolutely. I mean,
And people keep saying, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but
okay.
if I don't get this out, I'll mess up, girl. You know I'm a talker. But people keep saying how rare it is, but this is what I think about. If it's so rare, then why are these hospitals so full?
it's not rare.
We're literally sitting in an institution that is full, you know, at some point. You know, all these different ailments that are going around. If it's so rare, they're still metastasizing, meaning building and growing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, what's bad is that everyone always says, oh, it's rare, it's rare. It's not only is it not rare, it's growing. And that's,
Metastasizing.
Yes, it's growing,
Yes.
growing. When I got here today, I couldn't find a place to park because that's how many people are at this hospital.
Meet me on the roof.
Yes, I will meet you on the roof, my dear. But it's to me, I mean, like I said, it's nationwide, it's worldwide.
It's global.
It's global, but it's so personal too. Once you've been through this, and I don't know if it's social media that makes everyone more aware of it, but I mean,
It is.
Yeah, and it is. Probably 20 years ago that we wouldn't have known so many people, but now, I mean, I know so many people personally that their kids are going.
But your relationships are now based upon somebody's child's health
and sickness, and yeah,
and somebody's child's health.
right.
When a couple of years ago, before Grant or Kissy was diagnosed, I didn't know anybody with cancer. So
We
now
didn't
we
either.
all just live in this community, this gated community.
And nobody wants in.
Nobody wants in because
Nobody wants to live around.
nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to be a part of it. Nobody wants to donate to it. Nobody wants to do anything. There's gotta be a way, and we're gonna end this conversation because your eyes are over
No, it's
there
okay.
doing something, and I thank you
You're welcome.
more than anything.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you. Thanks for sharing Grant with me.
You're absolutely welcome, and thank you for sharing Kissy with all of us.
You're more than
She
welcome.
touched the world.
She did, and in a way that I couldn't imagine.
God chose you.
He did, and I'm grateful. I'm a work in progress, but I'm gonna work this thing out. I promise you that. It's like if I give up on this, it's like giving up on Kissy. And anybody who knew me,
You will not ever give up. No, ma'am. Mommy, mission possible.
that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks, babe.
Love you.
Love you too. So I thought we were done. And this is raw footage, y'all. So we've hugged and we've kissed and we've taken a picture together already, but we decided that we wanted to come back. And Shelly started sharing with me her favorite memory of Kissy. Oh, my sweet Kissy. So, Shelly, go ahead. You can share with us your favorite memory of Kissy.
Well, aside from the little Hello Kitty pajamas, footed pajamas, and her suitcase, and her little earrings that match so cute, I'll never forget all of that. But one day in particular, we were in the clinic, and there was a young man. He'd probably been here for several years and had grown into more of a man than a boy, and was in a paraplegic wheelchair, couldn't talk, unfortunately was kind of drooling, and all the other little kids were scared to death, my son included. They were just staring and looking, and Kissy Andrews walked up to that young man, and she said, "My name is Kissy, what's your name?" And she just started loving all over him and hugging him and blessing him, and I was standing there, and I couldn't believe that this little bitty girl had so much love in her little heart. that
Baby, she is her mama's child.
She just, it was incredible. You could see her, she was glowing. And you could see the light of the smile on that little boy's face or that young man's face. And I think everybody in the room had to have felt the way I did. They were watching this little child that was fighting her own battle. And she walked up, and where most kids would run around and be scared, and she embraced him and hugged him and loved on him. And it just warmed my heart.
so much. I'll never forget that.
There you go, crying again. So you know,
never ever forget that.
the greatest part about you sharing this story, it's funny because last week, Kennedy, the little girl that I spoke of a little bit earlier, her mom and I came up with a different entity of the Kissy Andrews Foundation. Because we all know Kissy was so caring, just like the story you just shared. That's just one of a gazillion stories. Even when she'd be in her worst pain, she would always be like, Mommy, are you okay?
Yeah, she was always looking out for you.
Always, always. And we decided to implement Operation Kissy Cares as a different entity of the organization, which will be the caring part of the organization. All of it cares, of course, but it will be the very intimate parts of it. You know, I just thought of another question that I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
I know that I love this raw footage. I love it. I'm not going to edit it. I promise. I'm just going to put it out there like this.
Put it out there, girl. It's the
truth. It is. And that's what makes it that much more of a blessing, because it is the truth. It will be a couple of pieces to it unless I figure out how to break it up.
That's okay.
But otherwise, it's going to be out there. With the holidays approaching, I remember having to spend Thanksgiving, which was the absolute worst in the hospital. The night before had to be terrible because you know that everybody's at home cutting their onions and their bell peppers and
making their turkey and dressing.
and preparing for tomorrow, which is Thanksgiving Day, which is what I usually would have done with my older girls.
Right.
But I wasn't able to do that because I was in the hospital with my baby that was sick and fighting for her life. Then we have Christmas coming up. Then, of course, everybody knows that I started doing the 12 days of Christmas for Kissy.
Right.
Because I wanted to make sure that every day counted for Kissy.
That's right.
Unfortunately, so many children don't have that. Their families don't think the way that I do, and they're not able to do the things that I was able to do for Kissy.
Right.
Or they don't have the support system that I had via social media.
Right.
Because my supporters did a lot for me. And so that's why I think it's important to say what is really happening in the world as far as pediatric cancer is concerned, because so many children are fighting and battling to where they're not able to enjoy the things of life, like Thanksgiving and Christmas. Look, Halloween's coming up. Somebody's child, they did the trick-or-treating today at the hospital, but when Sunday night comes, these kids are going to be remembering that tomorrow their friends are going to be going trick-or-treating, but the hospital's already done it, and these kids, you know, more or less won't be able to get out and put their costumes on and go trick-or-treating or knicker-knocking or whatever it is that they may do that we used to do as kids, you know, or throw eggs on somebody's door, or whatever the case may be. Yes, girl, whatever the case may be. And of course, y'all, we're not doing that for real. We just we're just making funnies about this. But we did do it. But what is it that the organization can do? What do you think about the holidays coming up and children and families being affected, even at home on hospice?
Oh, yeah.
Or home just sick and can't get out?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What is it? What do you feel about the holidays coming up? How does that make you feel now that you've gone through this for 3 years?
It's a big deal. I mean, and unfortunately, there weren't a lot of holidays where we were actually here. But some of my very good friends and you and Kissy, we're here. And
okay, this is Grant. This is Grant. Hey, General Grant. Hey there.
Oh my goodness.
This General Grant has gone up there and gotten oranges and
oh my goodness.
Oh, that's not oranges. Those are balls. Those are balls. And this is Grandma. Grandma spotted me when I came in today.
She did.
She said, "Hey, that's Kissy's mom over there." And so I told her she's not Shelly. Shelly is not her boo anymore. I'm her boo now.
That's right.
Tell everybody hello. Tell Kissy's supporters, Grant.
Can you say hi? Let's say hi.
Can you just say hi to Kissy's supporters for me?
Say hi, everybody.
He's really shy.
Can you tell them how much we love Kissy? Tell them to the moon and back.
All right.
Moon and back.
So just go ahead and we'll wrap it up after this since the families come back down.
But yeah, I would think when you're in the hospital and you can't get out and can't do anything, that it's a wonderful time to have volunteers to come up, and whether it be a dinner or a gift for a child. I mean, there were many times when Grant was in the hospital bed and couldn't get out. He was in isolation. Couldn't even go down the hall to the dinner if they had one. But some people would come in and, gown up and bring a gift for
That's
that
it.
little boy.
But what's important is that day.
That day.
Not many days before.
Right.
Not
Be
saying
there
that this is
that
a
day.
bad thing. I'm just
No.
saying, I just think that day, and that's what I'm saying this for my own organization
Right,
as a whole.
right.
I want to be able to sacrifice
Right.
my Thanksgiving day, my Christmas day, my Halloween day, my Easter Sunday,
Right.
my whatever day that's coming up. I want to be able to sacrifice those days and give to those who are less fortunate or who are.
Going through
That's
all
it.
this. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm willing to do that. I want to give all of me
Right.
with just a little 10%, just like you give a church your 10%
Right.
and beyond.
Right.
I want to give all of me minus that little amount so that
Right.
I can recuperate
That's
and
right.
rejuvenate.
Got to take care of yourself.
I got to take care of me, but I want to be able to give that much more of me
That would be
to
wonderful.
every child and every family who are battling pediatric
right.
cancer.
That's right. Amen. Amen.
That's it.
Amen to that.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah. And you can do it. You're already on your way.
I'm on
You're
my
already
way.
on your way, and you're going to do it. It's Mommy Mission Possible, and you're going to do it. And I know that Kissy is smiling down in heaven right
She
now.
better be.
Oh, she is. She
Oh,
is.
girl.
She's so proud of her mama.
If I
right
can
now.
give me some of that sugar right now, girl,
Yeah.
if I could just give me some of that sugar.
I know. She's smiling.
Thanks again for the third time, Shelly.
I'm not the best with this, yeah. But we all love you and we all love Kissy. She touched so many lives, and I can tell you that if you can bring a smile to a child's face who's stuck in the hospital,
Oh, yeah.
fighting for their life, if you can bring them a little gift or a dinner or a card, even just something, just come and visit if you can.
Yeah.
There's so many opportunities to make those days a little brighter.
That's it.
And like you said, not just a day or two before, but church isn't always in a building. Sometimes church is where you make
It's
it.
and it's in
Yeah.
your heart.
Yeah,
it's in your heart.
So
That's
you can
it.
spread God's love, not only just by being at church on
That's
Sunday,
it.
but you might come, and visit one of these patients and
That's it.
and reach out your hand to give them a little help.
Well, the Kissy Andrews Foundation for Pediatric Cancer is on that mission.
Yes, ma'am.
We're on that mission. I say often, I don't have frequent flyer miles, but I believe I can fly.
I think you can.
I'm going to be flying all around this world, so I'm putting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody has any miles they want to give a sister, I'll take them.
Load them up.
But but I believe I can fly.
I think you
I
can.
believe that this organization is going to flourish
It absolutely will.
I believe that.
Absolutely will.
because I'm going to give all of me to the organization and everybody who needs me.
Absolutely.
Because unfortunately, somebody's child is being diagnosed right now.
Right, it happens every day. There's 43
It does.
children diagnosed with cancer every
The
day.
numbers fluctuate between 43 and 47. I put 43 out there this year because I made 43. So
Right.
then I decided that was the number that I was going to use. But it fluctuates between 43 and
Yeah.
47.
Yeah.
But 43 it is right now. So
Yeah.
on my 43rd birthday, I decided to celebrate other children instead of celebrating myself.
That's a great idea. I love that you're giving back like this. It's
Thank
awesome.
you. Love you, girl.
I love you too.
Okay, bye.